Good morning, everybody, or I should say good afternoon. It's already 1 o'clock. Time is going by so quickly. I want to welcome you all here today. We're going to talk about the cybersecurity talent gap that we're experiencing globally, but we have two U.S. Individuals here, so we'll probably talk a lot also about the situation in the United States. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Taylor. I'm the president and CEO of the Northern Virginia Technology Council. We're one of the largest tech councils in the country, and we've been around for 35 years. And what we do is we really drive innovation and economic growth in the Northern Virginia region, which is sits right across the river from the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. So we really unite and bring together our full tech ecosystem in the National Capital Region, our nation's capital. Prior to this role, I actually worked at the Consumer Technology Association, where I was VP of Industry Affairs, and one of my roles was to lead all of our workforce development, programming, and policy work. So that's why I'm here today. Today's panel topic is titled The Cybersecurity Talent Gap, and this topic is really relevant and timely today, considering that cybersecurity talent this shortage has never been more pressing. I'm sure you're all aware of recent cyber attacks, such as the Salt Typhoon targeting the U.S. telecom industry, and the Volt Typhoon, the Chinese state-sponsored hacker group that has threatened critical infrastructure, including power, water, military facilities, and supply chains. So all of this underscores escalating risk. And these are just two of the more well-known. We know companies are dealing with cyber attacks every day. So what I'd like to do now is just set the table for our discussion and share some general statistics with you about the cyber workforce. In the U.S., we are currently experiencing a significant shortage of cyber professionals with thousands of positions unfilled. And this gap poses, I find this really interesting, substantial risks to our organizations, our industries, and governments, because the lack of skilled personnel is predicted to account for more than half of significant cyber security incidents worldwide. So we need more people. To address the talent gap, there are various initiatives underway, which is great. We're seeing organizations map skills training to emerging threats. We're offering more continuous learning opportunities for staff or employees. Organizations are providing more career pathways. We're attracting talent from more diverse populations and through non-traditional educational pathways like apprenticeship, at least in our country, and we're collaborating more with public agencies and through national campaigns. So in today's discussion, we're going to do three things. We're going to understand what are the factors that are driving the demand for cybersecurity talent. We're going to discuss how the increased demand for cyber is impacting companies, specifically how they're filling their talent pipelines. And then we're going to showcase how tech companies are addressing these challenges through innovative and unconventional ways. So what I'm going to do now is introduce our two subject matter experts. First, we have Torrell Funderburk. He's the CISO at Sealed Air, and he focuses on cyber resilience and innovation in the face of evolving security threats. He has a background in software development and a passion for digital transformation and emerging technology. Today, he's dedicated to bridging the gap between business objectives and cybersecurity strategies, and we're going to talk about that. For those of you who are unaware of Sealed Air, they're now branded as do you say C or S-E-E? C, yeah. And they're a packaging company. They're known for their innovative solutions in product protection, food safety, and security. They're headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you'll know some of their popular brands, well-known brands such as Bubble Wrap and Cryovac for food packaging. Now we also have Vishal Chawla. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And he's the founder and CEO of BluOcean. He brings over 30 years of cybersecurity expertise, combining his Big Four experience as a global cyber leader and a senior partner serving global Fortune 100 clients in the financial services and healthcare. industry. He's now the founder and CEO of BluOcean Cyber. They're located in Northern Virginia, where he's created a product called Risk GPS. It's a cyber risk governance platform. It helps companies dominate their competition by redefining cybersecurity as a critical strategic business asset. And he'll tell us more about that as well. He's been published in the Wall Street Journal, the MIT Review, and many other publications. So thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will take time for a few questions at the end, so if you have any, we look forward to hearing from you. So we're going to start with Torrell and then Vishal. So based on your respective experiences at Sealed Air and Deloitte, when you were working with Vishal, what do you believe are the main factors driving the increased demand for cybersecurity strategies? Why do companies? What's driving the demand?
This is an incredible question. I like this question because I think it's a combination of many factors. I think one, obvious with large publicly traded companies is the new SEC regulations and trying to aim for regulatory compliance and shared accountability and ownership at the leadership level. But on top of that, I think the general awareness for cybersecurity has been raised across the industry. So more people are aware and more people kind of understand that they need their collective strategies for cyber. And I think as a side effect of that, it almost feels as if through that focus there's a realization that cyber can also de-risk and enable the business as well. Because of the unique nature that cyber has to play. So if a business has a strategy that they're driving towards, how can cyber be leveraged to de-risk that while maintaining kind of operational resilience for their current operations effectively. So I think a combination of all those three things is really what's driving the need and demand for effective cyber strategies, and also demand for cyber strategies to be communicated effectively, which is also a challenge in our industry.
What are your thoughts?
Well, no, those are great points, Torrell. I'll add a few aspects to it. I'll pick about 4 things. One, I think what we have seen is the cyber criminals are not anymore, I joke, like 2 men in a truck, door wrangler, just try to come in. They have become organized.
Yeah.
Ransomware as a service, like Logbit. These companies have HR department. You get paid, you come in 9 to 6, you hack all day, you go home. So they are businesses. They are not just 2 people just trying to see, sitting in a basement or a dorm room trying to break in. So that shifts, like bringing the professionalism, if you think about it, to attacking, to hacking companies and holding them hostage. So that is a big shift we are seeing. The number 2 is definitely when you look at in terms of automation and everything what's going on, we're seeing a lot more stuff like cloud and SaaS. Especially after COVID, we saw this huge shift. You gotta move. But cloud and SaaS means now you gotta go out of your perimeter. You don't have that control, right? So that creates now a very open-ended environment, like I call it why you need to come into a house when your house is actually outside. Or, or the other way I look at it is we used to always call it what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Not anymore. It's on a SaaS cloud sitting somewhere which we have no clue, and they don't need to come in, they just hack in and those things. So it's changing that whole thing.
I love these analogies. I like that. House is outside of the house.
It is everything is out, right? You can go ahead, Salesforce for any of these tech company outside. You don't need to come into the perimeter. And I think the third biggest thing we are seeing, which is the third biggest thing we are seeing is the attack pattern has shifted. Because earlier people wanted to go attack for data. Every one of our information had some value, but that value has gone down considerably. So when Ticketmaster got hacked, I think they got 500 million record, I think, and they asked for 400,000. That's less than a penny for each of our record. That's it. But what they have shifted is they are going after business disruption. How I disrupt business like Change Healthcare, how I go like, don't want to name the company, but companies where disrupt the business, shut it down, so I hold them hostage and they gotta pay me now. And the last part I would say, which has changed the attack pattern is, with everything we look in CTA, means I'm sure we are enjoying CES, right? Every technology we see, as fast the technology is moving, like we were talking about Abbott when I was looking at the device, the hacker is moving too. And the more technology-enabled companies we become, the more opening is for hackers to go after us. So I think these four factors are creating an ecosystem which is creating this talent gap also, because it's not where we were. It's like your hockey, where the puck is going, that's moving too fast, it's going somewhere else, and we are still kind of moving slowly.
So the
forward.
skills, the talent pipeline has to keep up with the pace of technology.
Yeah, I love the analogy because I use
Because
it.
I'm seeing the technology, have the hockey stick,
Yeah.
and then the hackers, but the talent has to go along with it.
Skate to the puck.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I'm gonna go to my next question. So how has increased demand for cybersecurity impacted Seed? Like, what are the conversations you're having as a CISO with your CEO and your leadership team?
I think kind of what I touched on earlier, and that's leveraging kind of the capabilities that we've established at our company to actually de-risk the business strategy, right? So we're elevating our integration into the organization. So it's not just this back office project function, is how we align with the business to de-risk that strategy and the expectations and outcomes that come with that. So it's raising the bar for the expectations of security in terms of helping driving outcomes, but also more visibility in terms of our readiness for operational disruption, as Vishal mentioned.
So are you able to give us a specific example? I don't know if it's proprietary, but it's of de-risking a specific strategy. So, like, what might be?
I'll give you an example. So Vishal gave a great example. So there's an increase in attack posture, of attack surface with the boom of devices and emerging technology. So you have AI, you have IoT, and manufacturing as this eye for eye replication. Right?
That's
So
right.
A lot of connected devices, smart manufacturing, digital twins.
Right, so I'm visualizing C's manufacturing operations as you're describing that.
Yeah.
So this is massive.
Yeah. So
And is it? I'm sure it's global.
it's a global footprint.
Yep.
So from a security standpoint, how do we align with the major stakeholders in the business that are driving this strategy for more digital operation to de-risk it in terms of like building secure by design models? So we have a clearly understood model to onboard this emerging technology into our operation that not only protects against like existing or emerging risks, but it also improves the performance of our current operation.
Okay.
So I think the days of just expecting to be secure is gone. It's like, okay, it's secure and what? Secure and more efficient, more cost efficient, more operationally resilient. So I think the more integration to business outcomes is kind of what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Wow. And so how is it impacting?
The talent side,
What?
the talent.
Well, so this increased demand for cybersecurity,
Yeah.
how is it impacting, how are you seeing companies respond from your perspective? Either while you were working with the Big Four or with BluOcean?
I think
How are companies responding to these four
Absolutely.
trends you just outlined?
So when I take those trends, and I think back to Torrell's great point about the business-centric kind of thinking, I think what it's creating is, I step back and being consultant for so long, and I look at the problem from outside in, I see we have a talent issue at about 4 different dimensions to it. I'll start with the first one is what Taryn and I were talking a few minutes ago is just the security leadership. Is the security leadership trained enough to understand the mission and the business and very business centric? Back to the SEC regulation, they want you to focus on the business centricity. Because the criminal looks at your business to attack you, so there's a huge demand on security leadership, how to train themselves to move more toward the business side of the gap. So that's some of the companies are pushing their security leaders to be more strategic. And what I call it, we were great as a leader, as a professional cybersecurity leader, used to be a good defender and a technologist. As I remember, a bank in Virginia, they hired someone and he was phenomenal in technology, how to transition to cloud. But then they get hacked. Not his fault, but again, that's how they used to hire. And now they have to move to hiring people who are more strategist and collaborator.
Okay.
So you got to shift from technologist and defender to building new additional muscles of strategist and defender. So a strategist and collaborator. So that's number one. The number two I would pick is, Jen, it's really the skill side, where companies are investing into, back to, yes, we need certain skills, but what exactly the skills are going to be needed for the future where things are going. So we can be great with the skills we have, but we got to shift that skill pattern to, you got AI, now you got SaaS application, which security never had to really deal with application too much because it was inside the, but there's no more wall, there's no more around the company anymore, so everything is outside, so you got to change the skill set. I think the third big thing which you're seeing, and you will see like if you guys align with NACD and the board, there's a huge pressure on the board of directors. Bring
Yes.
some cybersecurity skills at the leadership.
Okay, even into the board.
Even into the board, and actually interestingly, there's a senator out of state of Washington, I think. He has proposed actually put something on the table, which I don't think so is gonna get passed, but we're holding criminally
Yes,
both the
I
board and the
remember reading that.
CISOs start getting accountable for it. So there is a huge pressure on the board that if you're gonna do the governance, this is the risk you need to manage. So that's the third skill gap which companies are trying to address. And the fourth one I feel is awareness. As we know, 80% or so cyber attacks happens because of human errors. 80. So how are we gonna become savvy? It's just like when you purchase a car, you learn how to manage the car, right? Now you got all these devices, like, I don't want to put anyone, like I go and ask these questions sometimes, like, go and open your Venmo and see who all is paying to whom. Can you see that? And if you can't see that, that means you have that personal information which you don't need to know because it's all there. So you got to understand technology.
Okay, so wait, let's talk about this example. So when I go into my Venmo, what did you say? I can see everybody that I paid, right?
And all your friends, if
Oh.
they're paying
Oh.
to anyone.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, why I need to
I
know?
put my thing on private.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing a friend from high school
Yeah.
that said that she paid her a tutor
Yeah.
for her daughter, and I went, her daughter must need help with math.
So
Why
if
do
you
I
think
need to
about-
know that 8 states away? That's weird, you know, but
So
yeah.
if you go back to, I'm sure everyone has watched Home Alone, right?
Yes, love it.
People had to go to the house to figure out if someone's gonna leave the house. So I can come and commit the crime.
Yeah,
And now you don't need to do anything. You can check on the phone, okay, they just bought the air tickets, okay, what I need to do next?
That's right.
So we need to become, I think that's where my fourth aspect is becoming at a human level, we need to become more aware of the technology, we need to become aware of how our information can be
Our
used
digital
and how
footprint.
to digital footprint and bring it down. And I think so that's what I see companies are becoming more, they're investing a lot more in security awareness and training, they're pushing the boards to transition, they're asking cyber leadership to becoming more strategic, and then really investing in talent from AI. So those are the four aspects I will touch on.
I would like to add to that too, about the kind of people we're looking for to solve these problems. If we know we have the risk with the human risk, the human element, and the scenario we just played out, why is that public and not private by default? And it goes back to the secure by design discussion and the technology adoption. Like, are we securing it before we adopt it? Or do we adopt it and then scramble and try to figure it out afterwards? So the talent that you need to do that needs to be aligned with the outcome of that secure by design thinking and not defending.
And it's a great point, actually, just to add one thing to it. If you look at most of the people, how many people are like in technology company or technology, or how many are financial services and stuff? not much, or retail or manufacturing, yeah. But you guys are already seeing a big shift where a lot more technology decision, back to Torrell's point, is getting done at the business level. CIOs are not even involved, and they're purchasing these SaaS products like this. Maybe we're working with a company, they have 1,200 of these. And then we go into their Slack, and the Slack is talking to another 500 applications. It's like, do you know where your data is, what you're gonna do? And when you don't know anything, so that's what is happening. The technology is coming so fast.
Right.
So we need products to become more secure, like security by design, because the business is saying, I need this tech. I saw it CES conference, bring it in, and I'm gonna use it tomorrow morning. And the CIO was like, no, I don't know. And I was like, what do you mean by you don't know? Just sit back, right? Because you wanna move forward and you wanna move fast, and there's the competition, the growth. So I think that's where the security by design is gonna become more. I think the CISA, which is the big, it's not a regulatory body, but Center for Information Security, and they have been pushing for this SBOM, software bill of material, which is, you should be able to, just like you buy, actually my boys also look at the water where it came from, but no. But it's the bill of material on everything, software. So you know how it was tested, how it was coded, how it was set up, how it was done. And if you have that SBOM, that changes the game too. So I think we're gonna see those pressure pretty hard. Moving SBOM, security by design, so these products are inherently secure.
This is fascinating. So at C, how many employees do you need, or how many do you need? What type of skills do they need? Do you have lots of open
Cheryl is
jobs?
gonna take resume on that.
Yeah. Like what is, how does it look from your perspective?
This is also a great question, because I think it also can be a trap for a lot of security programs, because they would make this decree for an infinite number of people, resources, but are those resources deployed at the right problem that aligns with the business? So the first question is kind of what is our mission, and why are we doing what we're doing? If we're here to manage and mitigate and kind of de-risk the business strategy and maintain our current operations, and how do we do that? What are those critical processes, like solutions to do that? And then this back into kind of who do we need to get that done per that demand. So for us, I think we're doing a really good job at that. And then you can leverage these emerging technologies with kind of AI and automation to handle kind of the L1 procedural tasks, and then raise the expectations for the people you do have, if it's more constrained resources, to focus on like much higher level outcomes versus just tactical day-to-day things, right? So with emerging technology kind of coming to fruition, we are able to push some of the tactical day-to-day stuff to technology, but elevating the people to oversee that technology and then focus on the high level outcomes.
And so are you doing, are you upskilling and training your people?
Yeah.
And how are you doing that?
So Vishal made a incredible point earlier about if you're skating to where the puck is going, and the puck is going to, say, cloud computing, or quantum computing, or whatever, application, whatever you're going to. Largely, you're not going to find analysts right out of undergrad or to solve that larger problem. What I prefer to do is understand people who are already in cloud computing. They may be cloud architects. They may be software reliability.
Interesting. So the ones who have built it.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Designed
if there's an upcoming demand for SBOM build materials, how do we get that? Well, that's just technology integrations into things that they've already been doing to collect that. So it's more of taking them and reskilling them and placing their focus and capabilities on security focused topics. But to do that, I think is you have to build that pathway to make them kind of want to do that and then have some sort of career development.
So that's like an investment inside your company?
Yes.
Like, you know, so making those career pathways and, continuous learning
Yeah.
within your company.
Yeah, but
Which
also,
takes time and resources.
also strategically, if your security program is aligned to your company business, these are the perfect people to apply to your security program because they intimately understand the company itself.
And you guys were talking about that before we came here, and, the importance of the employees understanding the mission.
Mission.
And
Correct.
the vision. Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. Why does that matter so much?
I think the big
Does
part.
it help them identify things more easily, like threats or?
It's definitely, I think it's a multifold because the security is sitting in this silo to some extent. And I call it, we gotta get security to be on the grown-up table a lot of time because it's sitting on the side table, the kids' table. And if it doesn't get, if they understand the strategy and the mission, then it starts changing the game. I've got a very good friend, she's been CISO for all her life, and she's very business-centric. And I asked her, why did you become business-centric? She's like, I like expensive stuff, and that's why I wanted to get paid more.
Okay.
So I started speaking the executive language, and that got me to the strategy table. But then her team started becoming, the side effect was, the team feels like we are protecting a mission.
Yes.
So if you are like, Taryn and I were talking a few minutes ago, we were doing some work with the hospital, and I'm like, okay, so what exactly are you doing, and what is exactly we are doing this security, this. I said, but your CEO wants patient safety.
That's right.
So what you're doing for patient safety? Oh, we got multi-factor authentication, we don't do, no. Let's go back again. Start from patient safety. So the challenge was, because if you're not mission oriented, then you're not gonna get the support of the leadership, then they're gonna say, I gotta just keep moving and I'll deal with it, right?
So it's like moving from just doing a transactional job to serving a higher purpose.
The higher purpose. And I think to build those skills, back to Torrell, your point, I think it's thinking from the mission. And I think if we do mission-based model, and we have seen it, there are models, what I call it skill to risk. So what I call it skill to risk or skill to value kind of model. It's a model which has been used, which some of the companies have started doing, because no one is gonna be able to hire talent. But on the other what you need. But on the other side, after COVID and working remote, we have ability to hire people, the best people wherever we want. But you can be company in Charlotte and you can have someone working from California and they don't have to be there, right? So skill to risk model, that's what I call it. So if you understand where your biggest risks are, whether it is, hey, I'm a health tech company and we tell everyone, give us your data and trust us. Because people are giving you their data to know all things about your health and what they care most about. If that data goes out in public and knows everyone.
So like, for example, like an EMR, like
Yes,
an electronic medical record.
think about like your health tech devices we were talking about,
Yes,
right?
we
You know
are.
your blood pressure, what happens to your blood pressure, what makes you this. You can do anything you want. So people are giving that information because they expect secrecy and trust. That trust is based on keeping it secrecy. So when you drive the skill to risk model is, you understand your mission, you understand what your risks are, and you hire skills which are required to manage that risk. And then the lower risk things, you can start looking at talent globally, like offshoring, outsourcing, whatever you want to do, and then you can outsource certain things. And what we have seen is the companies who start moving to skill to risk model, they train talent better because they're training for a mission, and those people can go into other career fields also, like becoming a CTO and other career paths. They are not just, I just look at threat actor, I get it, but why? And the second thing we start seeing is actually the talent demand. The talent needed is going down, generally goes down by 20 to 30%. So we have seen companies reduce their talent need by 30% because they are hiring for skill to risk.
Okay,
And the medium risk one, okay, what I need to do, okay, I can outsource or something. And this one, that's okay. I understand it's there. I don't need to go manage everything because the risk is so low, who cares?
okay,
So once, versus trying to be like, we were working with one client, it's like, back to this risk GPS we were doing, it's like, but can you find out if one of my servers is patched? I'm like, what is on that server is more important before you worry about whether that machine is patched or not.
okay, was there vital information on it?
Yeah, if you don't, so firstly understanding the skill, the risk is, firstly understand where my risk is, what the ecosystem I need to protect, what mission I need to protect, and then creating job description based on that, and then hiring the talent.
Okay,
That starts the strategy from top down.
I love that kind of model. And as you're talking, I was kind of categorizing it's like 3 different sectors, right? Skill to risk. And I just summarize the first group of like highly skilled people. The thing that highly skilled people love the most is purpose, right?
Yeah.
And if your strategy aligns with the business, it gives them a vision and purpose for why they're doing what they're doing. And that medium tier is your partner collaboration. Like, who are your partners that help you solve those medium risks? And then below that, you have your AI automation, right? So, I love it.
I like that phrase too.
Yeah.
I am always amazed how the time goes by so quickly. So we have 9 minutes. And I do want to take a few questions if there
Sure.
are. Let's talk about the entry level and talent that's coming in Northern Virginia. Just by way of background, George Mason University is the largest university in our state, and they were the first in our state to have a cybersecurity degree. Am I right on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so in our region, because of the collaboration with a lot of our government agencies, there's been a need to have this curriculum. And I think the school graduates a few thousand students a year. How can we get more students to, pursue a degree in cyber, or, pursue an apprenticeship in cyber? Do you think that we should have increased awareness about this career path? And we have a need for more people to study it, right?
I think it's absolutely needed, and I like what, I agree with what you're saying. I would say not because we are associated with you in Northern Virginia technology, but I think what we're doing in Northern Virginia, we need to do more in other states.
Yes.
Because you have created a collaboration between industry and the academia,
Yes.
right? So that's the number one important aspect. And the third big collaboration is you gotta bring the government into it, because they have a lot of demand, but there are also a lot of things which are happening which they can motivate in terms of how government is trying to tie into the school education system. So we are still doing George Mason. I want to go back to schools actually. So I give you when I was building this for Deloitte, I was building their offshore, their delivery capability centers around the world. We used to hire people and someone will come, oh, I just do IBM XYZ product. And you so, no, tomorrow we are gonna work with this product. And I will put them in the team, and 4 weeks later, they're back to IBM XYZ. So I started saying like, okay, I got a lot of people who are like they just are hammer for a nail, and if it's a 3-inch nail, then they don't know what to do with it.
Okay.
So how we shifted, and what we did was exactly what you talked about. We shifted everything to bring people from campus,
Okay.
and then have a very structured hands-on training program for 6 weeks, like a boot camp. You put them through the process and work through their model, put them into the training, and then they come out, they understand a lot more about cyber, and then what I call it's more like a hourglass kind of a career model. Don't start with getting into the swim lane quickly, but start broad, and then slowly you learn everything, and then you become more mission oriented, you understand the risk, you understand criminal behavior, criminal thinking, versus saying, I understand how to find hacker, okay, what are you gonna do after that? I don't know, that thing.
Okay.
No, you gotta understand. So I think we are seeing that model played out in Northern Virginia, and actually there are about 2 countries, and I'm connected with one, Israel. We do work with a lot of their cyber product too. Israel and Estonia. Those are two countries actually who are famous for building cyber talent from ground up.
Really?
Yeah, they have built that model very unique, and it's basically exactly on those. They have educate all the way from school time, all the way to the college. Cyber is part of the curriculum, basic education, and then you go deep. Very strong cross collaboration between the government, academia, and industry councils like LVCC. And then a lot more investment on hands-on training.
Yeah.
You look at most of the cyber product companies from Israel, a lot of those people actually work in Israel Army.
Okay, okay.
Most of these CISOs work from there. And even on our side, if you look at some of the phenomenal companies I think you and I were talking about, like CrowdStrike and Manian, these companies were started by people who came from that mission thinking of how to deal with it. So that's why they move so fast, because they're trying to deal. So I think that's the collaborate hands-on training. So I think those three aspects of cross collaboration, education, and then last one I would say is constantly upskilling, because if we depend too much on AI, that is the challenge we are going to get. Is, oh, AI will figure it out. I can do this. Pretty soon we're going to be like, okay, but the AI is what I call it's a very deterministic model. You do A plus B equal to C. The criminal operates on a probabilistic model. Okay, what is the probability this person is not going to watch this, so I go attack them?
Right.
So we need that critical thinking and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
All right. Are there any questions from the audience? Feel free to come up to the mic.
So a more basic question, just is there enough technology people to fill all the roles, or is it a question of people just don't want to do cybersecurity work? So I'm an IP and IT counsel. So from the IP side, I've noticed I've lost a lot of people. Well, I personally, but the industry has lost a lot of people where traditionally, if you didn't want to work in research or industry, patents were like a side branch. But now we're losing a lot of people to private equity and venture capitalists because they're using those skills. It's very valuable for those guys. And so we're seeing a shift from, instead of just being a patent attorney, it's like, okay, I could be working venture capital or I could be a patent attorney. So you've cut down the pool of people by 50%. So I'm just throwing numbers out there, but are you seeing something similar in your profession, that either people are being shunted off to different professions or they don't want to do cybersecurity work?
I have an opinion, but I'll let.
Yeah, I'll answer that because I think that's like a complex question. I think the people that are very successful in cybersecurity are normally those high agency IT professionals. But what comes with that is like a self-imposed accountability that makes them susceptible to burnout. Right? So you have really good people that come into cybersecurity that kind of burn out. To directly answer your question, I think that if we change the problem from a cybersecurity technology problem to like an innovation problem, I think we have better candidates of selling the innovation and opportunity to innovate and solve within a very dynamic space. I think it solves that problem. I think if we try to scope it to cybersecurity, you run into that problem. But
to position the career as one that's innovative and solving problems and evolving, and it has a creative aspect to it.
Right. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. But I mean, from what I'm reading, what I see, we don't have enough workers.
Yeah.
So there's so many strategies to attack that. And in our region, there's many approaches, but is getting industry and government involved with the academic aspect, but then also we have to start in high school. And like what we do as a tech council, we work with our regional school districts, and we have career exploration days. We bring the students to the offices. We bring some of the staff to the classrooms, so that they understand that these careers are available. So it's a challenge, but we have to encourage more kids to pursue jobs in tech. So anyway, go ahead.
I have a question. At Internet 2.0, Michael Coe had mentioned in a conversation with Microsoft that due to generative AI, 85% of the software engineers are no longer required. So my suggestion or question is, are you looking to leverage all of those engineers losing their jobs to Copilot to turn them into security professionals?
I think,
Because that would be phenomenal.
I don't know if they will lose the job. I still don't believe it because I think we are, with a bunch of people I'm sure in this room, we have seen the dot-com days, right? It took 7, 8, 10 years before we realized the power of it, and then we needed all those skills. I think we are with AI like version 0.1 or 0.5, whatever you want to call it. We don't even know where it is going to go. So it's going to take more people with a lot of critical thinking skills. And I think that's where back to when Torrell was saying that the security by design. So we're going to see, I completely agree with you. In my view, even one of the reasons when I moved out of my big four and building my company, I've got software developers, engineer, consultant, and someone who has been in industry, all four just attacking one single problem. And you will always find much better solution when you have the diversity of skill set. So I completely agree with you. The more diverse skill set we bring, we are going to be much better because the hackers do the same thing, right? I call it, I do a talk thinking like a criminal, but I use actually, I'm sure Ocean 11 movie. I use that as a framework, and we have analyzed that framework. It did not require one person, it required 11, and those 11 had 11 unique skills to make that crime happen. And so same way we need to be thinking on the other side is where I need to bring developer engineer, and back to your point and what you're saying, that will also create very interesting career models, because then you don't have to remain just in cyber field over time. You may go become a CTO, you may go become a product lead, because you understand how things are built from bottom up. So I agree with you. I think more engineers we can bring in, but statistically the numbers are anywhere from like, I think what Jen mentioned earlier, like 500,000 to a couple of million people shortage. Great point.
Yeah, if this does happen, I would definitely welcome it.
Yeah, so.
They're out there, actually.
Can we take one more question? No? Okay, well, thank you all for being here with us, and I hope you enjoyed the last 2 days of CES, day and a half.